Manchester United's potential deal with Andre Onana reaches a crucial stage in negotiations, with many reports stating that within the next 24 to 48 hours or so, these are crucial times in this deal. Elsewhere, Sadio Mane could be on the move for something in the region of 20 million euros. Mickey van der Ven edges closer to a move to Tottenham, seemingly. Lewis Dunk signs a new deal with Brighton and Hove Albion. Dusan Vlahovic turns to be a top priority and on top of the list at PSG as far as them finding a striker goes. Conor Gallagher, could he be crossing that Chelsea-Tottenham divide by being a top target of Spurs and of new manager Ange Postecoglou? Nat Phillips seemingly is on the way out of Liverpool for close to 8.5 million with a move to Leeds seemingly on the horizon. And Sergei Milinkovic-Savic on the way to Saudi Arabia, the latest to move to Saudi Arabia. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Yes, it's an all new news video we've got in store for you today, or live stream got in store for you today. So some of the biggest headlines from the past 24 to 48 hours or so of the world of football, of course. You know the drill by now. Please do come along, do get involved, do hit the like on the video if you haven't already, do subscribe if you haven't already. Both of them is always and probably greatly appreciated, and do get involved in the comment section here as Ballum is already right off the bat. Hope you are doing well, my bro. Hope you are well indeed. Thank you for coming along to the stream. Is Nat Phillips going Leeds or only a rumor for now? We'll talk about Nat Phillips in a little while, but yes, that does seem to be the case. I'm good, bro. I'm good. Thank you for asking. I hope you're good as well. Me and you both wearing white t-shirt today, Wednesday special. Very much a coincidence. Do you think Harry Kane will stay after his talks today, this morning, happening now? Well, the Harry Kane one's interesting. I wasn't going to talk about it because I was kind of bored of talking about Harry Kane stuff. But I guess we'll throw it out there because you suggested it, as we always tend to do on this, where you throw me a conversation and we'll talk about it. Harry Kane, look, I think he gets back today, doesn't he? I think his talks with Postecoglou are going to happen today. I don't know if they're happening right now or whether they're going to happen at some point later in the day. I don't know. But it is going to be very interesting. Like I say, when we talked about Harry Kane a couple of days ago, we talked about how Bayern rejected a second offer. We talked about how allegedly there is a big money contract on the table at Tottenham, and there could be a chance to further extend his stay at Spurs with massive money being a big pull for him. We'll have to wait and see how today's talks go, because if today's talks are successful in terms of what Tottenham are thinking is going to be successful, he stays. If obviously talks are not successful, does that mean that he's going to kick up more of a fuss? Does that mean he's going to want to definitely leave? We know obviously Bayern is a team that allegedly he's agreed personal terms with, so Kane is open to the move of leaving Tottenham, if that is to be true. We just have to wait and see on this one, to be honest. Somebody said Tyler Morton counts as homegrown. He won't get minutes, surely. Will be a low move away. I think possibly he won't play much, I feel. Tyler Morton isn't as good as the young Spanish player in centre mid. I think he had a decent spell at Blackburn last season. I think he turned a few heads at Blackburn last season. I agree with you. I don't think he'll get as many minutes now that we've obviously, reimbursed our midfield. And obviously we've got Trent as an option in that midfield as well, and we're still looking for another defensive midfielder. I reckon Morton will probably be moved on this summer in some way, shape or form, whether it is permanently or probably the more likely option of being loaned out. Yes, he does count as homegrown, but whether or not that will be enough to keep him within the original squad, I don't think so. Bobby Clark and etc. in reserves we want to try, but Liverpool midfield need to first time ready players such as the two players they brought in. Well, yeah, the overall goal this season is going to be to get back in that top four at the very least. I reckon if we can get our recruitment further correctly going forward in this transfer window, if we bring in a defensive midfielder. If we bring in at least one, maybe two centre backs, maybe you could bring in one on loan, maybe. I reckon we could actually push on a little bit further than that, but that's just me in my opinion. So we'll wait and see how it goes, of course. We'll wait and see how it goes, but interesting times do lie ahead. So I just want to get this Onana stuff out of the way and done with first and foremost. Andre Onana, we've talked a lot about this over the course of this transfer window, over the course of these live streams. Talked so much about how Onana and Manchester United, a deal is close. It's getting closer. Well, allegedly, according to Fabrizio Romano, these next 24 to 48 hours or so are going to be very much important and crucial in terms of wrapping this deal up. Where is the tweet? I had it all lined up and then I've lost the tweet. I lost the tweet. I've lost the tweet. But yes, apparently Romano basically states that the next 24 to 40 hours or so are going to be crucial for Manchester United to get this deal over and done with. Where is it? But they are seemingly edging ever closer, it seems, to getting to where they want to be. Like I say, I won't spend too much on this. It basically just said to the cruise 24 to 48 hours ahead. And that the move is simulating ever closer. I still think it will go through. I still think United will get the deal done in the end. I still think Inter will sell in the end. Onana wants the move. Inter obviously want to, well, they don't really want to sell, but they've really got no choice in the matter given their financial position and everything. And of course, when Manchester United do come calling, even though United haven't been that great for the past number of years, they still hold that kind of big club sort of pull. And of course, under Eric Ten Hag, they're going for a rebuild. And I guess the project really would appeal to a player like Onana to, money aspect as well. Playing in the Premier League, the biggest league in the world, in my opinion, and of course going forward with his career. So it does make sense for all parties involved to get this deal done and dusted. Still think it will happen. And yeah, like I say, I think it's a great move for Onana. I think it's a great move for Manchester United. They obviously want it to happen to a team like Manchester United being rivals, of course, but at the same time, yeah, it makes perfect sense in my opinion. This transforms Manchester United. Obviously, like I say, a big part of Onana's game is not just his shot stopping, but it's also about how good he is with the ball at his feet. He's an excellent passer of the ball, and it transitions Manchester United completely and can help them on the transition as well from defense into attack. His ball playing ability will help United beat a high press. It will help United in terms of retain possession, and then they can start to look at building attacks from the back, which is ultimately what Ten Hag's philosophy is and what he was unable to really do with the likes of David De Gea in goal. So it does make a lot of sense, and it's a smart move by Manchester United. Not happy about it in the slightest, but at the same time, I am to be neutral and fair about it. I completely get and understand why this is happening. The Echoes say that Henderson and Fabinho will stay. Curtis Jones and Hendo untouchable to me. Jones in this current form, whether it be for club or for country, definitely is seemingly untouchable right now. Henderson, I was going to do a video on Henderson yesterday, and then it came out that apparently the Saudi Arabia stuff was false, and it was nowhere near to being actually legitimate and true. So yeah, that kind of sunk that video before it even started, really. So fair play. I think Fabinho's got one more chance. Fabinho's got to prove to me that this drop off in form was just a one season, like the opposite of an excellent season for a one season wonder, a one season blunder, I'd say. So he's got to prove that this was just a one season blunder, and he's got to go back to being his best. So we'll see on that one. Thiago, he could be sold. Some say Thiago. Yeah, Thiago definitely could be sold this summer. Liverpool got a big decision to make as to whether or not to re-sign him, to sell him, or to run down his contract as we enter into the final year. for me, I think they'll run down his contract. I think, given his leadership, given his experience, I think that he will definitely run down his final year and be sold next summer, or got rid of, should we say, next summer. Untouchable. A word for Britso user says Trent Alexander-Arnold, Henderson, Jones, Elliott, Gomez, Ireland goalkeeper, and Conor Bradley. There's 7 homegrown for Liverpool now, I think, for next season. Yeah, it depends what we do in the transfer window, I guess. Like, I think Lavia, if that is to be the case, if we are to genuinely go after Lavia, that would also count as homegrown, I believe. So it does make sense if we actually do go for a homegrown talent to just boost up their numbers, just in case something was to happen. Fabio Carvalho counts as homegrown, but he is on a loan move. Yep, talked about that a fair amount as well. A player leaving Champions League Lazio for Saudi Arabia shows Lazio have no money in a way. Well, there's a lot more to it than just that. It's a bit strange, that one, but we'll get onto that a little later. Sadio Mane, I heard Liverpool are playing Bayern in pre-season. I didn't know that. Sadio Mane is somebody who has been linked away at times. Yep, we'll move on to Sadio Mane in just a second. And Nat Phillips would be sold, would be a solid signing for Leeds, though. He could help them go up. Yeah, maybe he could. On the Sadio Mane thing, on the Sadio Mane thing, allegedly, according to Sky Germany, he could be sold for as little as 20 million euros. Bayern only want 20 million euros to sell Sadio Mane this summer. That's from sources claiming to be Sky Germany. So, whatever you want to be. 20 million euros. Is everyone missing a trick here? I know that he's obviously getting on in age. I know that he's obviously 31, 32. But for a Premier League proven player, for a player with a wealth of experience, a wealth of winning everything there is to win, 20 million for Sadio Mane? Is that a bargain in your opinion? Is that something that a lot of clubs should be looking at? I know he's been linked with a move to Saudi Arabia. I know he's been linked with a couple of moves elsewhere, particularly in Europe as well. Is that a move that may interest some teams out there, particularly in Europe, especially in places like Saudi Arabia, where they're constantly looking to boost their profile and boost their name and everything and reputation. So, is that something that obviously would be looked at as maybe a genuine possibility? Could that open a lot of doors for Mane going forward in terms of where his footballing destination may take him next? It could be a very interesting one to keep your eye on because, I just think for 20 million, that's a bit of a steal for most clubs. I don't think at Liverpool, because I don't think you should ever go back to a club that you used to be. And I also think that Liverpool have moved on a little bit since then. But if you're looking for a winger that is proven, bit of a stopgap signing, shall we say, 20 million for 1, maybe 2 seasons, I don't think it'd be a bad shout, I genuinely don't think it would be a bad shout for, even someone like Arsenal. Even someone like an Arsenal that is maybe just looking to just bolster their squad. Remember, Mane is predominantly left wing. I think that's where he does his best work. But he also played right wing for a time, and he also played up front for a time. Having that versatility would help. Even playing for an Arsenal who, in my opinion, need a backup for a Bukayo Saka. Having him as a backup for Bukayo Saka and playing as a right winger there, that could work. It could work for maybe a season or two, depending on how much money Arsenal have left to spend. 20 million, I think, would be a good signing for a team like Arsenal. I think it'd be a good signing for most clubs in the Premier League or most clubs around Europe. But like I say, 20 million is definitely the offer, and what Bayern have put a fee on for him and a price tag on him. I would say that a lot of clubs may be interested in that. I know he's 32, I think, but at the same time, I still think it's a good signing and probably could be a very good signing going forward. Nat Phillips' loan at Bournemouth helped them go up. Could be a solid permanent signing at Leeds. Sadio Mane is interesting one to keep an eye on. Bayern need a striker, ideally, and could move Sadio for money. There's also the Harry Kane stuff, as you're going to talk about here, that if Harry Kane makes the big money move to Bayern Munich, the Bayern League, could you imagine Leeds go Dortmund win the Bundesliga from there? I doubt it. If Harry Kane goes to Bayern Munich, that's the Bundesliga to me tied up before a ball is even kicked. And as you go on to say there, the whole reason why Mane might be moving on is because Bayern may want to recuperate some funds that they're going to maybe put towards signing Harry Kane. So that could be the reason why he may be going for a cheaper price than what many people might have expected. Remember, it was only a year ago we were going for 30 million. I still reckon Liverpool probably could have got more had we been a bit more firm and a bit more smarter on the matter, should we say. But at the same time, 30 million, okay, it is what it is. Moving him on for 20 million a year later, I think it's mainly just to recuperate some funds that maybe they can put towards maybe signing a Harry Kane and getting, ideally, a better option for Bayern Munich. Sadio Mane to Manchester, part of the rebuild at Pep's Manchester. Doubt it. Highly doubt it. Highly doubt he's going to go to Manchester City. Not the kind of player. I mean, I'm sure Pep would love him in terms of his pressing and his work rate, but I think for the age he's at, probably not. West Ham want Alex Scott from Bristol City. Report big clubs Fletch as gets told on social media. He's an interesting talent. Alex Scott is a very interesting talent that obviously is attracting a lot of interest. I think Tottenham were in the picture. I think Aston Villa were in the picture as well. So he's definitely an interesting one to look at going forward. Still very young, still got a lot of room to grow, of course. Still a little rough around the edges, but you'd expect that with obviously being his age. But he's definitely going to be one that will be looked at very much across his future. So we'll see. Bayern need to panic sign a striker for sure. For some reason, a striker such as Lukaku, Jonathan David, and Randall Kolo Muani fits the team for Bayern, that is. I think Bayern have got a lot of options, well, a fair few options available, but are they genuine? See, it's weird because when you talk about Manchester United needing a striker, a lot of the options out there for United are gambles. For Bayern, it's not so much of a gamble because Bayern, the way that Bayern play, the way that obviously the Bundesliga is set up, that striker, whether he's a poor striker or not, is bound to get double-figure type of goals. Plus, he's going to have a lot of help from other players that are behind him because it's just the way that Bayern are in that league. It's less of a gamble for Bayern to say buy a Kolo Muani than it would be for Manchester United to go and buy a Kolo Muani or whoever's looking for a striker. Chelsea, for example, is in the same boat, even though I think they definitely need to buy another striker. It's more of a gamble for them. Any one of those strikers could potentially work out. And we also know that Thomas Tuchel has worked with Lukaku in the past, so that could be an option, I guess. But at the same time, I still think they're going to stick with pursuing Harry Kane for another few weeks and see if Daniel Levy budges on the price tag or anything. And then if not, that's when they turn their attention because, yeah, like you say, if they are to further solidify themselves as being the top dogs in the Bundesliga, as they were so close to losing their crown this season, and of course to try and regain that fear factor back in the Champions League, of course, yeah, it's going to be needed. It's definitely going to be needed. A striker is definitely going to be needed at Bayern Munich this season. So, well, like I say, we'll wait and see on that one. We will talk next about Nat Phillips as well. Just a quick one on Nat Phillips. 8.5 million is allegedly what the price tag is for one Nat Phillips. According to a couple of sources, they say that Leeds United are set to sign Liverpool centre-back Nat Phillips for 8.5 million. Nat Phillips has offers from Holland and Italy, but chose Leeds because of first-team opportunities. Like I say, makes perfect sense. This is a guy that's in his mid-20s right now. He's a guy who obviously came onto the scene a few years ago, really burst onto it when Liverpool had the COVID season in which their injuries were piling up, particularly in that centre-back area. They had issues there, and Phillips came in at a time of need and really boosted his stock and his interest in him. Was it probably the wrong move for Liverpool not to have got rid of him then and there? Because we all sort of got the feeling that he was amazing for what he did and he was brilliant for what he did. But you could tell that he wasn't the perfect fit. It wasn't the right fit for being a Liverpool defender at that time. Would it have been probably the right move to got rid of him after that season whilst his interest in stock was very much higher than it is right now? Probably. We probably would have got a bit more money for him. I reckon we could have got about 12 to 15 million for him rather than this rumoured 8.5 million that's being branded around. So I think we may have missed the boat a little bit on that one. But at the same time, it's still a decent amount of money to an extent. And it will do him the world of good to go out and make a claim to being a first-team defender and a first-team choice defender elsewhere. And especially for a club like Leeds that are looking to rebuild and looking to get back into the Premier League, I think it could be a very good move for Nat Phillips going forward. So, yeah, very much interesting to see if he does get that move done and dusted and if that is to go ahead. So, fair play to him. Do you think Conor Gallagher is going Strasbourg because Chelsea own them? Also, do you want and think Liverpool will ever buy a football club similar to Manchester City and Red Bull Football Group? To be honest, FSG, nah. They'll get rid of Liverpool first. They'll get rid of Liverpool first, and then they'll buy another football club probably. Probably they'll try their luck in somewhere like France or something. Strasbourg made moves, Patrick Vieira in, and etc. Chelsea owner bought them. It will be interesting. Yeah, absolutely. Chelsea are just using their contacts right now. Chelsea are just going through their contacts to buy their deadwood players. Conor Gallagher may be one of them, but also we're hearing that Conor Gallagher may be on the move to Tottenham. He may be crossing that Chelsea-Tottenham divide, as we'll talk now. They're basically thinking about moving on Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, and if that is to be the case, then they have identified Conor Gallagher as a potential replacement. Now, for me, Conor Gallagher and Højbjerg are two different players, so I don't think this move makes an entire lot of sense in terms of this, because, like I say, Conor Gallagher for me is not necessarily a defensive player. He's not really a defensive midfielder. He's more of a box-to-box, sort of more attacking midfielder, attacking from deep, that kind of thing. But with Højbjerg being seemingly attracting interest from the likes of Atletico Madrid, it seems that they're keeping their midfield options open after signing James Maddison as well this summer in that midfield area. Postecoglou and Tottenham are still looking and exploring different areas to obviously improve. For me, Conor Gallagher would do well to move on from Chelsea, do well to move on from a place that is obviously going through a lot of rebuild and a lot of rebranding and everything, to a club that is on the rebuild itself, but is obviously just different, going through a lot of transition, a manager that is seemingly saying and doing all the right things right now to get the Tottenham fans on side. So it does seem a little bit positive over there right now with Spurs than it has been for a while. But of course, as we know, Spurs are always seemingly this ticking time bomb where things may look good on the outside, but as soon as things take a bit of a turn, that's it. And then there's no going back. There's no return point there. There's no turning back from that point. So be interested to see if anything does develop with this one. But allegedly, Tottenham are keen on moving on Conor Gallagher in this instance. So we'll wait and see if obviously anything does materialise with that one. But it's interesting stuff there. Chelsea, who play in Fulham area, the ins and outs is crazy this summer. Absolutely. So many people going out, and I think they're going to make some big moves in the remainder of this transfer window. Big moves. Can you go the Angie accent, Fletch? No, definitely not. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. I think Ange will tell Harry Kane, this is the Harry Kane team, and you have to stay, mate. You can get a Foster's drink every day if you stay. I think he'll want him to stay. Don't think the Foster's is going to tempt him, though. Foster's is... it's not amazing, Foster's, is it? Foster's is not the best. I know it's obviously Australian, and I get the reference you're doing, and it's like cultural appropriation or whatever. But yeah, I get. It's a difficult one because I've said constantly, like, Harry Kane needs to leave for the benefit of everybody involved. Harry Kane needs to leave for Harry Kane first and foremost. Get a few trophies on your CV and stuff, on your resume before you end your career. Harry Kane needs to leave for Tottenham as well because Tottenham need to move on from Harry Kane, and they need to reinvest the money that they're going to get for him in other areas of the pitch to move on and maybe become, even as daft as it sounds, maybe become a better squad because of it, not just a one-man team as everybody seems to suggest they seemingly are. And also, it would do the benefit of the good to obviously the next team that obviously buys him, because they get a star striker, they boost their chances of winning things up front. It works out for them. It works out for them. Mickey van der Ven, just a quick one on him whilst we're talking about Tottenham. Allegedly, advanced talks are still ongoing between Tottenham and Wolfsburg for him. Romano came out a couple of days ago and stated that Tottenham are advancing in talks with Wolfsburg for Mickey van der Ven. Told the agreement between clubs is now close. Negotiations are underway and talks on Monday were really positive, waiting for key details, more to follow. So it does seem Tottenham are very close to signing Mickey van der Ven, a quality defender who I've said time and time again is one to definitely look out for the future. He looks a very exciting and interesting prospect. Talked a fair amount about him, like I say, in these live streams when talking about Van der Ven, how he'd been linked with Liverpool before, and now it's seemingly on the move to Tottenham. So I think Tottenham get a very good defender here. I think a smart defender. I think it's a smart move by the defender, by the club as well. A quick defender, turned a lot of people's attention to due to his pace. So it does seem like Postecoglou is going to want to play a bit more on the front foot, a bit more adventurous, like he has been doing at the likes of Celtic and things. And having that pace of a defender to kind of trap back and to cover seemingly is the smart option. And Van der Ven certainly seemingly fits that bill. So if this move does get over the line and done with, it's another smart piece of business by Tottenham and by and by the club. Yeah, I like this move a lot. I'm annoyed by it because I think that he would have done well for Liverpool. Still a little rough around the edges, still a little bit rash, but at the same time possesses some of the defensive qualities that I've already talked about that would seemingly fit very well with Tottenham. I think it's a very good move. And again, I think it shows you the kind of panic that Daniel Levy's in right now, that he's actually got his checkbook out this summer. So yeah, we'll wait and see on this one if this one actually does get over the line. But according to Romano, things seem to be moving in the right and correct direction. Dusan Vlahovic been linked with Bayern, Premier League, and etc. We shall see. Interesting to see what Bayern do. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Chelsea loan a striker to Union Berlin, are in Champions League for next season. Chelsea's youth team, scout network, very good at loaning out players. That's where a lot of their money has come in the past. So smart move there. And then they get a player out on loan. They give him the experience in a different league, a different culture, and everything. Similar to what Liverpool have done with Fabio Carvalho, sending him out on loan to RB Leipzig, of course. So yeah, smart move. Lewis Dunk, a Brighton and Hove Albion legend and homegrown. Smart, they kept him. They have James Milner, Adam Lallana, and a few English players in their squad to be a homegrown, a good run club. A lot of experience in that team too. A lot of experience in that team now growing. So, like I say, the likes of James Milner and Lewis Dunk heavily needed for future seasons to come. We'll just touch upon Lewis Dunk actually now that you've mentioned it. Romano states more on exclusive news revealed overnight. Lewis Dunk has already signed documents as contract extension until June 2026 will be unveiled soon. Negotiation was very fast as both Brighton and Dunk wanted to continue together. That was his obviously talk last night. And then obviously he goes on to state that that is being done and dusted. Dunk is a Brighton and Hove Albion player, extending his stay until June 2026. A smart move by Brighton. He's a no-nonsense quality defender, in my opinion. Very underrated, I'd say. Maybe not for... I know that he obviously had a fair amount of interest during his time in the Premier League from the likes of Arsenal. Oh, for God's sake. Drop me phone. There we go. Dropped it again. Yeah, I know he's had a fair amount of interest from other teams and things, but it's a smart move by Brighton. It makes a lot of sense for Brighton to obviously keep him on. Brighton are on this upwards trajectory right now. They're doing very, very well. They might be losing a couple of their best players this summer, but at the same time, they are a very well-run club, as Ballum says here, and obviously they're going to find replacements. Whether those replacements hit the ground running or not remains to be seen, but their track record seems to suggest that they probably will. So we'll see how this one goes. But it's a smart move by Brighton to tie up the long-term investment and the long-term future of one of their best players in the team, one of their most experienced players in the team. And obviously a leader as well in their club captain. So we'll see how it goes, but a very smart piece of business by Brighton. Remember, sometimes it's not just about who you bring into the club, but it's also about who you tie down at the club for a long time to come. And obviously Lewis Dunk is the latest Brighton player to have got that luxury. Moving on. We talked Onana, we talked Mane, we talked Van der Ven, we talked Dunk, we talked Gallagher, we talked Phillips. Dusan Vlahovic. The Serbian striker, of course, currently playing for Juventus, attracted a fair amount of interest this summer, as he has done in previous summers and in previous transfer windows. And as Ballum says here, I mentioned earlier, of course, has been linked with Bayern and a few other Premier League clubs this summer. Obviously, we know that Bayern are looking for a striker themselves, so that makes sense. And obviously, a few Premier League clubs have also been sniffing around. Arsenal, because Arsenal were linked with him before he moved to Juventus, of course. And allegedly, Chelsea have also been inquiring about the availability of the Serbian striker. But what's come out today is that allegedly PSG may now be entering this race to sign him. PSG, as we know, are sort of in a bit of a pickle with this whole Kylian Mbappe situation. We know that obviously they are looking at certain options and certain ways to maybe deal with that situation. But what we also know is that with Mauro Icardi looking set to move away, that move seems to be done and dusted. The move to Galatasaray, and Hugo Ekitike on the move as well, it seems. There leaves a lot there to be played around with in terms of money, and there seems to be a bit of a gap developing and a bit of a void to be filled as a striker. Now we know that obviously PSG have been looking at Victor Osimhen. We talked about that before, and there was seemingly interest from PSG in Victor Osimhen, but that deal could be very difficult to get done. Much more difficult to get done when in comparison to maybe a Vlahovic, who, like I say, has been attracting a lot of interest and is seemingly on his way out of Juventus. So it does seem Juventus want him to move on. Maybe it will bring in some big money for him and for the club, of course. That will help them. And, of course, it might help Vlahovic as well in furthering on his career. PSG, is that the right move for him? Maybe, maybe not, depending on how they do. Again, this isn't I think PSG are somewhat evolving. I think they're somewhat moving on from the bigger of the names. This is obviously a big name, but it's not probably the biggest name that they probably could have gone for. I think out of the two, you may have said that Osimhen would have been the way to go rather than Vlahovic. But that isn't to say that this would be a bad move at all. We talked about Vlahovic before. We talked about his intelligence. We talked about his positional awareness. We talked about how good he is from a set piece. We talked about how lethal he is and can be in front of goal. This guy is definitely still rough around the edges, but in France, it only boosts PSG more. In Europe, it adds another layer to PSG. Throw him in there with Agate, throw him in there with Asensio, the two new signings, and you may have the start of a very good team building there. Like I say, Luis Enrique's got a lot of work to do on his hands. He's got a lot of issues to put out. He's got a lot of fires to put out at PSG, mainly a massive fire in, obviously, Kylian Mbappe's situation. But I did say the other day when I was talking about the Mbappe situation that it's going to create a massive ripple effect, a massive ripple effect in terms of what's going to happen next and who they bring in. Like, what is the domino effect going to be? I talked about the Real Madrid side of things. If that is to be the case, Tchouaméni goes to Arsenal, brings in the money to maybe go on and sign an Mbappe. What does the Mbappe money do? Does that maybe go on and bring in a Vlahovic? Does that maybe go on and bring in a Victor Osimhen? A lot of things can happen with a lot of money, as we have seen time and time again. And obviously with big players leaving, that often means big money coming in. And with big money coming in, that can often mean a lot of activity. So we'll wait and see what happens on this one. But it does seem that Luis Enrique has taken a shine to Vlahovic. And I think that with obviously the way that Enrique plays, I think he could be a good fit for Vlahovic, to be honest. Whether it's going to be the perfect league for him, I'm not so sure. But remains to be seen on that one. Dusan Vlahovic. Why did you break his name up? I just do stuff like that. It's just makes it a bit more interesting. Just doing the syllable bit. Dusan Vlahovic. Just breaking it up. João Felix to Paris is a good, smart signing for PSG. Again, any signing for PSG like that is going to be smart. It's just whether or not it's going to work out for them in the long run. Like, as far as what their domestic stuff is concerned, it's fine. Champions League way, depends. Felix, I don't think really did a lot wrong in Chelsea colours, other than kept on hitting the post and crossbar a lot. I think in every game he pretty much hit the post and crossbar a lot, didn't he? Would be smart. Would he fit in? Maybe. I think he would fit in more at PSG than he would Atletico. But that isn't to say that it's the perfect move for him. So we'll wait and see on that one, if that one actually does come to fruition. Hugo Ekitike is a young player there. Paris will make signings. Well, apparently he's going to be moving. I don't remember whether they say. I think Newcastle may still hold a bit of an interest in him. I think there might be some interest as well from somewhere else in Europe. I can't remember where. I think was it like a Fenerbahce I remember reading or something. I don't really remember now off the top of my head, but yeah. I think there might be some interest still from Newcastle, especially. So we'll wait and see on that one if anything does materialise there or with anywhere else. But yeah, PSG definitely need to make some signings as well. Enrique definitely has some issues to put out there. I mean, if João Felix goes to Paris, would be a good signing there. Yeah, no, like I say, I think you're right. I think you're correct. I think he would fit in well with Luis Enrique's system much more than he does at Atletico's system with Diego Simeone. So yeah, we'll wait and see on that one, of course. But I think you're right. I think you're right. If that is to be the case and if that is to come off, then yeah, smart move. Milinkovic-Savic. This one is strange to me. This one is strange for a big reason. For a big reason in particular. Today, Has Fabrizio Romano has come out and basically said that Al Hilal have booked medical tests for Sergei Milinkovic-Savic. First part will take place in the next 24 hours. Deal agreed for 40 million euros between clubs, as Lazio are just waiting for documents to be signed. Then it will be official. Explain this one to me. This is a guy that has been in Serie A and Lazio all his career. This is a guy that has been with Lazio for a long time. This is a guy who has had a lot of interest from Premier League clubs, I think maybe even Spanish clubs, other Italian clubs maybe, all his career. He stayed with Lazio. He's had a lot of interest elsewhere. But nothing's ever materialized. Nothing ever materialized in that aspect. Nothing ever happened beyond interest. How is it that he's managed to be dragged away to Saudi Arabia for 40 million euros? Like, don't get me wrong, I understand the money aspect. I understand that maybe he's being offered a lot of money. But this is the latest in a long line of players to obviously be making that jump from where they currently are to Saudi Arabia. I understand that the money aspect is a big part of it. What I don't understand is this is a guy that is highly raved about. I like the guy personally. I think he's a very good player, and I think that he would have done well for a lot of clubs across Europe. A lot of clubs across Europe, whether it be in England, whether it be in France, whether it be in Spain, whether it be in Germany. I think this guy could have fit in a lot of different ways in a lot of different clubs across Europe. I don't understand how a 40 million euro deal, which if you're looking at it from an English perspective, is probably between 30 to 33 million, give or take, million pounds, around about there. How is this guy moving to there for that amount of money? Liverpool could have done with him, and as part of a big midfield rebuild. Tottenham would have loved it. Chelsea, I think he would have fit in really well there. Arsenal, possibly. Manchester City, maybe. I think he would have done a lot of good for a lot of clubs. Manchester United, definitely. Manchester United probably would have been perfect for him. But he is now going to Saudi Arabia for 40 million euros. A lot of money in his wages, definitely, because that is just what Saudi Arabia do. I get that. But 40 million euros. Bargain, in my opinion. What is he now? He must be like 29 now. Must be 30, right? Milinkovic. Yeah, 28. 28. The guy is 28 years of age. It's big for Saudi Arabia. And it's big again because they managed to pounce on a 28-year-old player who, not near his retirement, but for some reason moves there for 40 million euros. I still find it baffling to me. That this is happening, and no Premier League club is stepping in to try and even tempt him to join the Premier League, or no Spanish club is trying to tempt him to join them, or no Italian club that's higher up than Lazio is trying to tempt him. I just find it baffling to me. I just find this one baffling to me. I rate the guy. I like the guy. I think he's a very good player, and I think that we could have seen more from him had he properly tested himself and had the ambition maybe to kick up a fuss and maybe want to join someone else that is higher up than Lazio, with all due respect. But at the same time, I'm a little bit baffled by this story. I'm a little bit baffled. Good luck to him, whatever. But at the same time, I'm a little bit baffled. It's very strange. He leaves Champions League, Lazio for Saudi Arabia. Absolutely, it's strange to me. And like I say, at 28 years of age as well. That's strange to me. I saw Leeds' new shirt for new season, a good sponsor and everything. Looks decent. Money talks with Saudi Arabia, to be honest, absolutely. I get that. Don't get me wrong. I get money talks, and some players are in it more for the money than they are for the trophies. 100% get that. I just don't understand why no Premier League club has ever taken their interest a step further. That's what I don't get. Christian Pulisic, Captain America, the Liverpool legend, for his goal against Manchester United. Huh? Liverpool legend Christian Pulisic? Really? The move to Milano isn't confirmed yet. Would you take him as competition and squad player at Liverpool? No. I wouldn't. I wouldn't take him at Liverpool because I don't think we need him. If this was the Pulisic at Dortmund, I think he would have excelled even further under Jurgen Klopp. I think if Pulisic had moved to Liverpool at the time where we were very much interested in him, and I think Klopp was there at the time, I think, and obviously had worked with him a little bit at Dortmund, brought him through at Dortmund, I reckon he would have excelled and he would have got even better than what he was. And yes, you are right, injuries did affect him. But I think playing under Klopp would have been a better decision for him than moving to Chelsea. I understand why he moved to Chelsea, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I still think moving to Liverpool would have been a better option. And we would have seen a better Christian Pulisic had he moved. But that's just hindsight. Yeah, I'm still baffled by the whole Milinkovic-Savic thing, to be honest. Yeah, very, very much baffled by that. But yeah, move on. We move on. Are you surprised Liverpool haven't signed an American player in some way? I don't know. Sometimes in those kinds of countries it works because you're a big club, and when you buy a player like that, their interest goes up, and they bring new eyes to the product. Like you look at Son at Tottenham, for example. Like he is a hero to South Koreans, and that's why Tottenham are known in that part of the country simply because of Son. Not completely the full story there, but you get what I mean. Like, there's a lot more South Korean eyes on the Tottenham product because of Son. That's what I mean by that. Having an American play for a team like Real Madrid, a team like PSG, a team like Manchester United would obviously do the same effect. It would have a lot more people looking at him and going, he must be one of the best because he's playing for one of the best teams in world football or world soccer, as they call it. Like, but yeah, I just don't think. I mean, there have been opportunities. I mean, Liverpool were linked with the likes of Clint Dempsey years ago, and obviously, I think maybe even Landon Donovan at some stage before obviously he moved to Everton and ruined his career. But no, like. I just don't think that there's anyone that's really interested Klopp that much, to be honest. So we'll wait and see. I'm not saying it won't happen ever. I'm just saying it's just one of those things. Trent with the iconic Route 66 jersey number. That shirt is his own. That shirt is his own. I'm glad he's kept it. I'm glad it's going to stay that way. It's an iconic number now, like you say, very iconic. Yeah. A lot basically going around, a lot of interest, a lot of talks. And like I say, with preseason starting, this is only going to heat up even more. Like there's still a lot of transfer windows still left. Preseason's basically beginning. Everyone's back doing their initial bedding in or warming up kind of training sessions. Seen a lot of the Liverpool boys training yesterday, so very interesting and excited to see how that goes. Salah back to being the king. Andy Robertson, Jordan Henderson looks absolutely insane right now. Like, yeah, there's a lot to really look forward to when it comes to preseason. I don't take too much stock in preseason friendlies, to be honest, because let's face it, they're more for building up your match fitness, and you can play about 6 different teams in the same game. And Liverpool tend to do that anyway. They tend to play 30-minute blocks of 3 different teams. So we'll see how that goes. They did it last year, didn't they? They played like 3 different teams in one game. I think they played back-to-back games at some point as well. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, there's a lot now to look forward to as we head further into July. And obviously everyone's coming back from pre-season. Everyone's going to be ready and waiting for the forthcoming season to come. And I personally cannot wait for it. The transfer window obviously is ongoing. A lot more rumors, a lot more whispers, a lot more speculation, and a lot more stories to come in that one as well. I'm sure everybody still needs to do business, in my opinion, so that's going to be very intriguing to find that all out. And I, for one, cannot wait. But I'm going to have to leave it there. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. These are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. End of stream now. Take care. Order your Dortmund home shirt soon. Did you see how Keita says injuries are behind him? No idea why Liverpool fans care about him saying that. Move on from Naby, lad. I mean, I definitely want a Dortmund shirt. Whether I can afford it or not is another thing, but I definitely want a Dortmund shirt. Yeah, I did see that. I did see what Keita said. And you know what? If that is going to be the case, then fair play and good luck to him. We need to move on. It was a failed transfer. Not every transfer is going to be gold. As we all know, not every transfer is going to strike gold. Naby was just one of those ones that had a lot of potential and a lot of expectation that he ultimately didn't really live up to. He showed flashes and he showed glimpses here and there, but ultimately there were stories about how his attitude wasn't there, how his motivation wasn't there, how his desire wasn't there. And for some reason, I don't necessarily know why, if that is to be the case and there are all these stories around him, I don't understand how someone like Klopp didn't see that soon enough, and why we only just got rid of him on a free transfer. If that was the case, someone like Guardiola may have been a bit more ruthless and may have been like, after the first or second year, been like, no, not happening. You're either getting on board or you're not. And if you're not, we don't mind selling you and we don't mind moving you on as soon as possible. So there's a lot to take in with that Naby story. But like I say, it's best if Liverpool just move on from it. It's best if Liverpool fans move on from it. If he has passed his injuries, only time will tell on that one. If he goes to, if he's going to be at his new club, he's going to be injured every other few games, then we know that there is something seriously wrong with his legs and they are seriously made of breadsticks. So we'll wait and see what happens with Naby Keita going forward. But yeah, I did see that. So very intrigued as to what the future holds for him. And like I say, I do want a Dortmund shirt. I do want a Dortmund shirt because they look so good and they're so nice, even though it's like a golden yellow sort of color. It's a very, very nice shirt. So yes, I will definitely look into maybe purchasing one at some stage. But yeah, like I say, these are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. Do you leave your thoughts, your comments, opinions, predictions, feelings on any of the stories that I talked about, or any stories that you want to talk about for future videos in the comment section, in the chat, whatever it may be. I'm sure it'll make for interesting and great reading. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way out if you enjoy the video. Subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things always have very greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been an all-new news live stream. Take care. Thank you to Balin for contributing a lot in this live stream. Appreciate it, brother. Hope you have a good rest of your day, sir, and I hope you all have a good rest of your day as well. And I will see and speak to you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever the hell it will be. Thanks, guys. Take care.